We're looking at massive protests that's erupted in Jharkhand's Ranchi, right outside the Vidhan Sabha. We're looking at protesters who enraged over Hemant Soren's decision to grant a separate Namaz room for those who want to pray Namaz inside the Assembly campus. Of course, many of them not okay with it, asking for a separate room now to chant Hemant Chalisa. Protests ensued, lathi charge, water cannons, all that and more. Take a look at this ground report.
Protests, ruckus, and lathi charge. All this over Jharkhand Chief Minister Hemant Soren allotting a room for Namaz inside the Assembly building in Ranchi. BJP workers gathered in large numbers on Wednesday outside the Vidhan Sabha to condemn the Soren government's decision to allow Namaz in a separate room inside the State Assembly campus.
हेमंत सोरेन के इशारे पर, कांग्रेस के नेताओं के इशारे पर ये लाठी चार्ज किया गया है और राज्य की जनता इस लाठी का जवाब भी बहुत जल्द देगी। ऐसे तानाशाह सरकार को जल्दी जाना पड़ेगा, झारखंड की जनता की चाहत है।
The protests quickly turned violent after police cracked down on BJP workers trying to break down barricades and move into the Vidhan Sabha.
हमने पहले ही कहा है इनके पास मुद्दे विहीन भाजपा का क्या हो सकता है। इनका तो एक ही मुद्दा है, कोई दूसरा मुद्दा बताइए। जाति धर्म संप्रदाय के अलावा दूसरा कौन सा मुद्दा है इनके पास।
Soren as chief minister may have had his way, but the BJP isn't backing off.
अगर उनको कुछ बदलाव करना तो सदन परमिशन देगा कि हम एक कक्ष आपको आवंटित करते हैं। सदन परमिशन देगा। संविधान से न मुख्यमंत्री ऊपर है, न रघुवर दास ऊपर है, न माननीय विधानसभा के अध्यक्ष। विरोध कर रहा, लोकतंत्र का जो अपमान हो रहा उसका विरोध कर रहा।
आज चौथा पांचवा दिन है जब हम लोगों ने रिक्वेस्ट किया था माननीय विधानसभा अध्यक्ष जी से कि आप नमाज वाले कमरे को, आवंटित कमरे को रद्द करें, लेकिन उन्होंने रद्द नहीं किया। अब वो नमाज पढ़वाएंगे तो बाध्य होकर भारतीय जनता पार्टी के जो विधायक हैं वो हनुमान चालीसा का पाठ करेंगे।
A public interest litigation has been filed in the Jharkhand High Court saying public money-funded institutions should not be pandering to a particular religion. The move by the Jharkhand government has also had a ripple effect in Uttar Pradesh, with an opposition MLA demanding a room for Namaz and the UP government outrightly rejecting it.
जब हमारी विधानसभा की कार्रवाई चलती है तो हम लोग जो मुसलमान विधायक हैं वो अक्सर कार्रवाई छोड़ के मस्जिद जाते हैं नमाज पढ़ने के लिए। अगर विधानसभा में ही एक प्रेयर रूम हो, कभी कभी ऐसा होता है क्योंकि नमाज का टाइम हमारे यहाँ फिक्स है, जो उसका टाइम अगर एक प्रेयर रूम छोटा सा ही सही 4-5 लोग जहाँ जाए अपनी नमाज पढ़े वापस आके हाउस में रहेंगे, एक तो इससे कार्रवाई नहीं छूटेगी।
नहीं, बिल्कुल भी नहीं करेंगे सिर्फ, और ना ही करना चाहिए, किसी और दूसरे राज्य को भी नहीं करना चाहिए। इसकी छूट नहीं है। आप हमारे यहाँ और सब चीज की आजादी है, आप जाइए, या आपको करना है प्रेयर करना है, बाहर जाइए, कहीं हमारे कंट्री में मना तो नहीं है। लेकिन इस तरह की बात ऐसे समय पर आना, आज तो वो नहीं है विधानसभा में आज नहीं आए हैं, लेकिन ये जिस पार्टी से बिलोंग करते हैं उनकी विचारधारा ही यही है।
The controversy has in fact spread to Bihar as well with a twist.
वोट बैंक की नीति के तहत अगर नमाज के लिए आपने कमरा दिया है तो क्यों नहीं दीजिएगा आप हनुमान चालीसा पाठ के लिए। अगर शुक्रवार को देते हैं उनको नमाज अदा करने के लिए मोहलत, तो क्यों नहीं मंगलवार को दीजिएगा।
The debate on whether religion should find a place in an assembly building will continue for long, but clearly politics has no room for settling scores amicably. Bureau Report, India Today.
Well, there you have it. The assembly, which is usually looked at as a temple of democracy, you have now warring factions wanting a prayer room inside on one hand, on the other another room to chant Hanuman Chalisa. This is what we see on ground in Jharkhand. I'm going to cut across to our reporter right there, Satyendra, giving us a glimpse into what exactly happened post that ruckus. Satyajit, we also understand that right now a petition was filed in the Jharkhand High Court where the BJP has said that if at all a prayer room is granted, then we also want to build a Hanuman temple inside the assembly itself. What has the court observed? Has it even taken that up for hearing as yet?
only a litigation has been filed. The court is yet to hear that matter. But the thing is, the issue has generated much hate. The politics has got hot over the issue, over the Namaz issue, and BJP is in no mood to budge. It is not going to retreat. The party has got a issue, and it is going to extract maximum mileage, it seems, from their intention itself. Because after the today's protest, after the lathi charge, the workers are egged and fuming in wrath. Many of the workers and the spokespersons of party have informed us that they are going to rake up the issue further, intensify the agitation further, because their even the state president and Rajya Sabha MP Deepak Prakash was not spared, and even he got hurt. So the matter is bound to generate more heat, and BJP is planning perhaps a band tomorrow, or they will approach the governor. A high-level delegation will meet the governor, and they will try to explain them what has happened in the house and what are the points they were trying to raise, which has gone unheeded. They wanted the attention of the house.
All right, and they got it. They've got the attention of the House, as we see, quite literally. Thank you very much for joining us with those details. Let me quickly cut across to our panelists. We have Marsha, who's the chairman of the Minority Development of India. We also have joining us Charu Pragya, BJP spokesperson. We have Alok Dubey, spokesperson, Jharkhand Congress. I'd like to cut across to ask Ms. Charu Pragya. Here is Irfan Solanki, who's a SP leader, Samajwadi Party leader. Now, of course, the agitation has also spilled over to Uttar Pradesh. You have the BJP objecting this move even in Uttar Pradesh after Irfan Solanki asked for a prayer room. He says, we do not want to miss the assembly proceedings, and therefore give us a room so we can step out, pray and come back into the house and be part of the assembly proceedings. What, in your opinion, is wrong here?
Hello. Preeti, am I audible?
Nabila here. I can hear you, ma'am. Go on.
Oh, Nabila, sorry. I can't see the TV screen. Yeah, Nabila, I've been following very closely everything that's been unfolding in Jharkhand and the entire Pandora's box that Congress GMM government has opened there. I want to ask them one question. Out of 82 MLAs, they've got 4 Muslim MLAs. If they are so intent on making sure all the MLAs are comfortable with everything, why not simply open a multi-faith prayer room? Or why not just allocate space which everyone can use? Why this special focus for only 4 MLAs? What about the other 78? This is not secular. This is not even democratic. And this comes from a government which has behaved like this, in this autocratic manner, in this way of favoritism and appeasement, time and time again in the most recent past. And I'll give you examples. Do you remember a time in March when 3 people were arrested for simply sharing a photo on social media of some kids praying on the road? Just some 2-3 kids were sitting praying on the road. This picture was shared on social media. Those who shared it were arrested. Do you also remember the incident where a fruit seller was arrested in Jharkhand by the government for simply writing Hindu Phool Ki Dukaan, Hindu Phool Dukaan? And that was in April 2020. So these instances have become more and more common. This favoritism and this appeasement has become more and more open. And this is not something which should be done in the temple of democracy. This is not something which should be done with taxpayers' money in a secular country.
All right. We got your point. Let me toss that to our Jharkhand Congress spokesperson here, sir. We do know that the Congress sings, songs on secularism. But don't you think that this is all appeasement politics in the true sense? You're granting a separate room for prayers inside the assembly campus, while on the other hand, there is no hard and fast rule that Muslims have to go to a prayer room to pray namaz. They can go to any room to pray namaz. Why a dedicated room?
देखिए, इसके पहले 5 साल बीजेपी की सरकार थी। उस समय भी नमाज पढ़ने के लिए रूम दिए गए थे, और जब झारखंड अलग राज्य बना तब भाजपा के पहले मुख्यमंत्री आदरणीय बाबूलाल मरांडी जी, जो अभी भाजपा के विधायक दल के नेता हैं, उन्होंने भी नमाज पढ़ने के लिए रूम दिया था। माननीय पूर्व बीजेपी के मुख्यमंत्री अर्जुन मुंडा जी ने अपने सरकारी आवास में सरकारी खर्चे से बजरंग बली की मूर्ति स्थापित करके रखा है। हेमंत सोरेन की सरकार पिछले 16 महीने से उस घर में है और पहले भी 14 महीने मुख्यमंत्री रहे हैं। उन्होंने उस मूर्ति को कभी डिस्ट्रॉय करने की कोशिश नहीं की। आज तक वो मूर्ति वहां विराजमान है। इसलिए ये कहना कि कांग्रेस और जेएमएम के गठबंधन के सहयोगियों ने नमाज पढ़ने के लिए स्थान आवंटित किया है, ये बिल्कुल निराधार आरोप है। दूसरी बात,
तो आप बीजेपी कह रही है उनके लिए एक रूम बना के दे दो आप हनुमान चालीसा जाप करने के लिए।
आप वो लिख करके दें। मैं पूरी गंभीरता के साथ कहता हूं कि हमारे स्पीकर संजीदा है, उनके लिए भी स्थान दिया जाएगा। मैडम, सही बात यह है कि बीजेपी के 5 पसंदीदा विषय हैं: गाय गोबर, मंदिर मस्जिद, हिंदू मुसलमान, पाकिस्तान हिंदुस्तान और गंगा नदी की सफाई। ये 5 प्रमुख पसंदीदा विषय हैं बीजेपी के, और इन्हीं 5 मुद्दों पर वो झारखंड में राजनीति करती आ रही है। इसलिए वो साफ हो गए और 3 विधानसभा के उपचुनाव में भी लोगों ने उनको बाहर का रास्ता दिखाया है। ये ट्राइबल स्टेट है, आदिवासियों का पहचाना हुआ।
अभी नेशनल टेलीविजन पे बोल रहे हैं, आप कसम खा रहे हैं कि आप बीजेपी को भी एक रूम बना के देंगे उनको वहां पर पूजा करने के लिए। हाँ, ये आपका स्टेटमेंट है।
लेकिन पहले बीजेपी से ये जरूर पूछिए कि क्या 5 साल बीजेपी के सरकार में और उसके पहले 12 साल यानी 16 साल के शासन काल में क्या पुराने विधानसभा में नमाज पढ़े जाते थे कि नहीं? वहां के कर्मचारियों और विधायकों के लिए वो स्थान आवंटित था कि नहीं? ये जरूर आप बीजेपी से सवाल करिएगा।
जी, आप हमारे साथ जुड़े रहिए। I'll come back to you, sir. Marsha, who's also joining us, who's the chairman of the Minority Development of India. Marsha, we do know that this demand will spill over to other states as well. It's just about time. You had that in Jharkhand. Now it's over to Uttar Pradesh, where you have Irfan Solanki, SP leader. But it's ironic. You had the same Irfan Solanki who never raised any objections to any atrocities that any Muslim faced in the past in Uttar Pradesh. But he wants a Namaz room inside the assembly right around the assembly elections, which is just a few months away. As a practicing Muslim, what according to you do you feel of this demand here, asking for a separate prayer room inside the temple of democracy?
This is what the irony of this country is. Actually, we are not about to raise above our standards and to talk of development and to any other thing of that matter. And I have a question to Mr. Alok Dubey ji, that if you are so well aware of the other parties' agendas, जो कि आपके भाषा में इजीली बात करती हूँ मैं, कि गाय गोबर और ये जो मुद्दे आपको मालूम है, आप इतने एजुकेटेड हैं, तो आप ये मुद्दे बीजेपी को देते क्यों हैं? आप इनसे ऊपर उठ के किसी और चीज की राजनीति क्यों नहीं कर सकते हैं? आप एजुकेशन के बारे में बात नहीं कर सकते हैं, आप गरीबी के बारे में बात नहीं कर सकते हैं, आप झारखंड से रिलेटेड और बहुत सारे मुद्दे हैं जो ट्राइबल्स के मुद्दे हैं, आप उनके बारे में बात नहीं कर सकते हैं। ये सब चीजों के मुद्दे दे दे कि आप कौन सी राजनीति आप करना चाहते हैं? दैट्स माय क्वेश्चन टू यू।
जी डुबे जी, यही बात सब पूछ रहे हैं कि जब मस्जिद की डिमोलिशन हुई, आप तभी तो कोई आवाज नहीं उठाए आपने। आप जो मुस्लिम कम्युनिटी के लिए जिनको बुरा लगा उनके लिए आप खड़े नहीं हुए, तो आप ये प्रेयर रूम जो असेंबली के अंदर बनाना, ये क्या अपीजमेंट नहीं हुआ?
बिल्कुल सही सवाल आपने किया है। मैं यहाँ पर रोशनी डालना जरूर चाहूंगा कि पिछले 18 महीनों में जब सेकेंड वेव आया, पूरा देश जब जूझ रहा था, हमने बिना लॉकडाउन किए हुए राज्य को सुरक्षित रखा, जबकि पूरे देश के सभी प्रदेशों में लॉकडाउन लगाए गए थे। हमने लॉकडाउन नहीं किया। स्वास्थ्य सुरक्षा सप्ताह के माध्यम से लोगों को सुरक्षित रखा और हमारा स्थान तीसरा मिला। हमारे मुख्यमंत्री को तीसरा स्थान मिला सबसे प्रिय मुख्यमंत्री में। हमने विकास को लेकर के राज्य में कई कीर्तिमान स्थापित किए, और चाहे वो बेरोजगारी के सवाल हो, चाहे वो अर्थव्यवस्था का सवाल हो, चाहे यहाँ के लोगों को रोजगार मुहैया करने की बात हो। आपको जानकर यह आश्चर्य होगा कि पिछले जब मनरेगा की योजनाएं लागू हो गई थी, तो झारखंड में पहला पूरे देश में स्थान था, जिसने 10 लाख प्रवासी लोगों को अपने यहाँ रोजगार देने की बात की थी। हमारे मुद्दे ये रहे, हमने इन सभी मुद्दों को लेकर
First of all, my name is Nabila.
लेकिन इसको राजनीति का रंग देने का काम
but over to you. Dubiji, 1 minute. Over to you, Charu. Here, it's a long-standing practice. You usually see idols kept inside the assembly. You have most often, and it's for decades that it's been on. Any good occasion, you usually have. Ministers or MLAs coming together to perform a small puja right there. So this is a long-standing practice. So why not have a small room for prayers as well? Why is there so much of an objection that you protest outside the Vidhan Sabha to a point for lathi charge and water cannons to be used?
And Nabila, why not call this prayer a prayer room? Simply just call it that. Why call it a namaz room? Can people of other faiths not offer prayers? And another important pertinent point I wanted to raise and ask my co-panelist, कल को कोई महिला एमएलए जो मुस्लिम हो भी तो इलेक्ट होकर आ सकती है ना सदन में, तो क्या इस महिला को उस प्रेयर रूम में जाने की आपकी तरफ से अनुमति होगी कि कल फिर आप बोलोगे कि मुस्लिम समाज के हिसाब से अब आप 2 कमरे बना के दोगे नमाज पढ़ने के लिए, 1 for men and 1 for women? See, this is a wrong precedent to set. There are prayer rooms in hospitals, there are prayer rooms at airports, there are prayer rooms everywhere, but people just call it simply a prayer room. This, I feel, is not the way to go ahead in a country like India. This is not a progressive step, and if at all you need to do something, please do it in a way that is both democratic and secular. And look at the way Jharkhand government has reacted today. Look at the ease with which my co-panelist is saying, "Arey koi baat nahi, hum ek aur kamra."
No, but then why did your protesters wait until why did your protesters wait until a similar request was made in Uttar Pradesh? Until then, there were no protests. Once the topic was raised in Uttar Pradesh, once the Yogi Adityanath government said no to it, then we saw protests erupting in Jharkhand. What took you so long?
So Nabila, I'm sure that a protest cannot be organized in just 5 minutes. So whatever is the reason for people to come together at a particular date and time must be left upon them. But it is fantastic that Uttar Pradesh has set a correct precedent, because anyone of any faith deserves to be in the Sadan, can pray in the Sadan if there is a place which is allocated for prayers there. And this needs to be nipped in the bud. This has to be nipped in the bud, because Congress's practice of using appeasement is not the way ahead for our country, like I've been saying. Another thing is, they're not really doing anything for Muslims there. They are being used as a vote bank. Tell me anything which is being done for the community on ground.
Fair enough.
This is not...
No, absolutely. Point taken. Masha, we're looking at the people of the Muslim community extensively speaking about their rights, their wants, their needs. We are a secular, we are a democratic country. We have such diverse cultures. We've got to live side by side. We've got to celebrate our cultures side by side, but not bring it into the assembly, into the house where you have the assembly sessions where people of all communities are present there. You want to pray, you can pray anywhere. There's no hard and fast rule in Islam that you have to pray inside a prayer room. You can also pray on clean sand. That's what Islam says, really. So a quick word and a final word I'll take from you. And what's your message to the community itself?
Exactly my point. My point is that stop using Muslims for your only political appeasement and start talking of their development. And I would also ask Muslim leaders to step down from that kind of political agendas and hiding it behind it. Congress has been doing it for us with 70 years in past, and now don't give these examples for your future generations to come. If you want to set an example, right, in other words, in other channels, we are talking about Taliban being all religious and everything, then we'll have to step up and come out as not recontextualizing the word minority in this and secularism in this constitution here.
All right, Masha, thank you very much. Charu, Pragya, thank you. Alok Dubeji, bahut shukriya for joining us with that. Now, of course, you have the High Court yet to make a decision on whether or not to allow for a separate prayer room inside the Jharkhand Assembly campus.